Life is full of choices, so let's explore the best ways to thrive. This is a Connecting You podcast, hosted by me, Mayra Richards, and my marketing director, Emily Robinson. Tune in to discover a healed, healthy, and purposeful life. We are back at episode 3 of season 4, Single and Dating. And today we're going to talk about redefining expectations and learning what you want
in a relationship. The icebreaker was your worst date fail.
I did not date a whole lot, but I can think of 2. One of them being, I don't know that it was a fail as much as by the end of the date, I said, hey, you might need some counseling, because he had opened up about all these things to me. And I was like, no, I'm not your counselor. I am in counseling school, but.
Was this a first date?
Yes, this is first date.
Yeah, that's hard.
And then the other thing that I can think of, we actually never went on a date. I used to work at an eye clinic when I was 15, 16. Somebody came to the counter and he said, you wanna?
You wanna?
Now
you wanna what?
Alex had been saying that he wanted to ask me out.
Okay. Maybe he got really nervous.
So we didn't go on a date, but that
was a pre-date fail.
Yes, that was a pre-date fail. What about you?
Mine has to do with questions on opposite ends of the spectrum. So on one date, this guy had been asking me out. So this should have been his red flag. I kept saying no. Finally, we had something of a conversation. And I was like, okay, maybe I am not giving him a chance. Yeah, so I went with him and we sit down. It's immediately awkward. He started bombarding me with philosophical, deep-rooted questions about life and how these books affected me. What do I know about this? I just felt that I was on a liberal arts panel, that I was supposed to be an expert, but a philosopher. I felt very overwhelmed. So then on the other end of the spectrum, I've been on a date where the guy didn't ask me anything at all.
Yeah.
And I was pushing the conversation along. And the thing was that we were ice skating. I was locked into that activity and he wasn't asking me anything. I don't know that he disliked me or that he just was nervous or couldn't hold up the conversation, because later, we did text a little bit, but it fizzled into nothing. That's totally fine. But at the same time, if you're on a date with somebody, you should have a conversation, even if you don't like them, or if you're having a bad day. I'm like, what are we here for?
And honestly, it's not that hard. If I was a guy, I would just Google some questions. I would literally Google search what to ask on a first date. There's no reason why somebody should ask.
Based on my life and her life, here's the data. What should I ask her about?
There you go. Maybe that's what you did, the philosophical questions.
I swear, I felt bad because I knew he had prepared, but it wasn't the vibe. But dating in general can be very enjoyable if you go into the mindset, I just want to get to know this person. I think the way that they set up the date also tells you a lot about them.
Yes. It tells you what they like to do. It tells you what they think of if they just take you to Chuck E. Cheese.
That actually might be a fun date.
Maybe.
If you're an arcade person. But if he's going for the food.
A comedy show, he likes funny things. It tells you a lot. Reservations tell you he thought about it. He's thoughtful.
So some people just want a quick coffee date because they don't know you that well, so they don't want to invest the amount of time that you would need for a whole dinner, or the amount of money that you would need for a whole dinner. But then on the other side, I've seen people say, no, I take women to dinner because I want to go have a nice dinner and I want to have that experience for myself and for her.
That sounds like a manly answer. Say that to man.
Yeah, because I want to have a nice dinner, so we're going to go.
Yeah.
I like that too. I like decision.
He's making a decision and he's saying, hey, I want to invite somebody to experience this with me.
Yeah.
It's too bad if, let's say, the date went horribly, but at least I got to try a new restaurant and I had fun.
Yeah.
It's ownership.
It's where I've had just fun stuff like paint and sip. Thought that was fun because you get to talk, but it's also an activity.
Unless you are in college, because college students do not have that much money, or they're using their parents' money.
Mm-hmm.
Coffee dates, I don't think so. That they're no for adults.
Yes and no. I think what I think is different about it is, did they put in the effort to plan it and make it seem like it was a priority to them?
No, that's true. That's so true. That must be my first date. We went on a group date because, again, we did not have time. So he asked if I was available after his ultimate game, and I was like, I'm actually going to go out with friends who he knew. And so he showed up, got out of his house, saw flowers in his garden, grabbed a flower, and he
brought it to me. And that meant the world to me. It wasn't like he went and spent hundreds of dollars on flowers. It was just
Yeah.
literally one blue hydrangea.
Mm-hmm.
And when he came in, he was intentional enough to give it to me in front of everybody. Like, that was
means a lot.
intentional.
I think that's what the whole coffee date is interesting to me because it really depends. Is it because you said you were super busy? So is he being thoughtful and saying, well, just coffee?
That's true.
Did he ask whether you like coffee? Does he know that you post one every single day? I drank a lot of coffee. Did they find one that had a nice atmosphere?
Yes.
So I think there's a lot of ways that people can show they care that aren't money and that aren't like traditional.
Gavin
There's
brought
one size
tattoos.
fits all. To your first date?
Yes, instant tattoos. I forgot about it. That's why we had tattoos at our wedding, because he brought up, I think they're like Star Wars tattoos or something. We had joked about it. Like, one of our first questions with each other via Facebook, like, do you have it? We both said no. And then he came in and he was like, would you like to get a tattoo? And I looked at him, I was like, not really. That's not,
You thought he meant a real
that's not
tattoo.
my thing. And he's like, yeah, you do. And he like showed a tattoo. And it was so fun.
It was just,
cost nothing.
Yeah. You should be looking for somebody's priorities.
Yes.
Instead of, like, oh, is this the exact thing? I know some women who only will go if it's dinner, or they will only go if it's a whole day plan. I think it's like reductive to box yourself into a certain experience when you could get to know a person and observe without forcing it. Like if you wanted to go to dinner and you say, okay, how about 7 on Saturday? And I'm going to wear this. And what are you going to wear? And you push it into something that you created, then you didn't get to observe them and what they would have done.
You'll know pretty quickly that that's probably going to be your role in the relationship. If you guys get into a relationship, you will probably be the one that does most of the planning, because you never get space for the other person to plan. So that will be a habit that happens, that I've seen.
And are you okay with that? Some people would like that, but if you don't want it.
So with expectation, I would say go for what you want for the long haul. If you want kids, think about your kids. If you don't want kids, think about, do you want to travel? I told Emily, I'm very opinionated about this because I have so many people come and say, when I'm 80, I would like to buy a house in the Hamptons. Not so many people tell me that, but the person that they're dating isn't willing to even have a job or be employed.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, you have to be practical to look into the future and say, do these things align?
Mm-hmm.
Those things can change. But like, if he's unemployed and he doesn't particularly want to get a job, you're probably never going to have a house in the Hamptons.
Yeah.
And are you okay with that?
Mm-hmm.
So it's
like changing your dream.
Right. Like shifting for this person. I would want you to expect that. That would be the reality, right? That would be, if he's showing you who he is now, that's probably going to be that person for the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm.
Very few people change. Not that there aren't people to change, but he's going to show you that he wants to grow and change, usually at the beginning of dating.
Yeah. Like the fundamental nature of who they are probably isn't going to change. Like if they have these aspirations, it doesn't mean that they have to be fully ready and perfect right now.
No.
Another thing is that they have to back up what they're saying, because a lot of people will lie to get what they want.
Yes. Yeah.
And they'll say a lot of nice things. They'll see you and they'll be like, oh, she wants kids and she wants this house and she wants this. I can say that I want all of those things, but are they doing anything? Like just with that simple example, like the house, is he doing anything to either get a job or to, get more education? Is he doing something that goes with the thing that he says in the future he wants? Because people will just say
anything.
And I've learned that goes across all ages, because in recent, my mom started to date. And I realized the guys, whether they're 23 or 63, they will say anything. They will do anything to try to get what they want. And the level of maturity, you can't expect to change. You can't expect people to, as we said in a past episode, like once we have a family, he's going to be this other expectation. Like you can't expect that.
No. I like that your mom's dating. I'm very happy that she's dating. She was telling me about one guy. She went on a date and he was kind of like, oh yeah, like women don't really keep dating me.
He said that? I didn't hear that.
And I looked at her and I was like, believe him.
Yes.
Believe what they say. If they're like,
they'll show you.
Tons of relationships have not worked out. I'm hoping for a good wife or whatever.
It's like, why didn't they work out?
Right. Why haven't they worked out? So I'll go with what they say, not with what you think might change. No one's going to change for you. If they can't even change for themselves, they're not going to change for you.
Guys will say, oh, you deserve so much better.
Oh, I hate and you should say, you're
I
right.
believe you.
I do.
I do deserve better.
Is that what you say?
I'm like, I can't give you, all this stuff that I want to give you. It's like, why? You could if you wanted to. If you really tried. I don't believe anyone is like incapable. Like there's things that are hard in a relationship, but most things you're not physically incapable if you really wanted to do it. If you really wanted to work on having patience or your ambition or your dedication to following through on promises. If you really wanted to, I feel like really anyone could. So believe
There are
you.
enough resources in this world to make
Get it
you the
done
person that
somehow.
you want to be. That reminded me of a story of I was ending things with this person. I had asked, like, what do you want? Like, where do you see this going? What do you want? And he wouldn't answer the question. And then he asked me, what do you want? And it clicked in that moment. And I looked at him and I was like, it doesn't matter, but I do know that you can't give me what I want.
You said that immediately?
Because I knew what I wanted. I wanted companionship and I wanted loyalty and I wanted friendship. And I knew that he couldn't give me that. And I never told him what I wanted. I just simply said, you can't give me what I want. So I'm not going to tell you what I want. Because then you're going to pretend that those are the things that you want. And that moment, I just know that deep in my heart, I was like, you cannot give me what I want. And I left.
And a lot of dating problems are not really problems as much as like we don't want to believe people or we don't want to stand up for ourselves. There was this guy recently who the same thing asking me what do I want. Like, I know what I want. I want a boyfriend. Well, I will want a boyfriend and I will want a long-term one and I will want this and this. I was like, what do you want? He was like, yeah, the same thing, like eventually. But the whole conversation to us getting to that like specific question, the whole conversation prior to that was very confusing, very vague. And I feel like that is like one of the ways that people who don't want anything serious will try to sort of like ensnare you. If you're confused, that's the answer. Like that's what you need to believe because why are you questioning things? That's just him trying to hide something from you.
If you ever come out of a date and you're extremely confused, walk away. That spirit of confusion
is a blessing.
It's a blessing for you to walk away. There should be a directness. That's what you should expect, a directness in dating. Still remember, Gavin flat out, second or third day, he said, I like you. I don't know where this is going, but I like you. And it was the most refreshing feeling I had ever had because no other guy had said that. They had told me that they liked. Don't get me wrong. But they hadn't been like, I want you to be my girlfriend. I like you. He also was like, I like you. I'm not planning to date anybody else. Let's see where this goes.
Yeah.
And it was so freeing. That's when you know that you're with a man.
Yes.
Like it's so freeing because he knows what he wants. He's willing to tell you. He's willing to risk the vulnerability of telling you. And it just feels so freeing for the girl.
There's this whole skit on TikTok where like girls will ask their guy friends and they'll be like, after the date, he didn't call me for like 3 days, but he was really busy with work. He didn't text me this or he's shy or this or that excuse. And like women will believe all these different excuses. But then if you ask any guy friend, they're like, he just doesn't like you. Like he just doesn't. If he did, he wouldn't have these excuses. He wouldn't have this confusion or be leading you on. You would know that he liked you if he really did. We have to stop making dating into something more than it is because it's simpler if all the parties involved have good intentions are being honest. It's not that complicated. Later on down the line, I think when you're like 10 years into a relationship and you keep having the same issue and the trauma and the kid, I think it gets complicated.
Right.
I don't think dating is that complicated.
I don't think it should be at all. I think it should be fun. It should be refreshing. It should bring you a level of peace. That's what reminded me of. And I remember sitting with Kelsey and her husband, Jesse, and I was in the car with them. And he had never dated anybody. And he had been around this church and had plenty of women that he could have dated. And Kelsey was like, tell her. Because I was single. So he was like, Mayra, I never dated anybody because I didn't like them.
Yeah.
Wait, what? Was there anybody that you liked for a while that you never asked
Find
out?
the courage to tell them.
Right. It was like, no, not until I met Kelsey. Because I heard that. That's how I came into my relationship with Gavin. I was like, if he doesn't ask me out in 2 days, I'm done. Lord, smash him off my head. I'm moving forward. I'm not ever thinking about this person again. Because so many women get caught up in the, oh, he's just waiting for the right moment. Or maybe he wants to be friends first for a year and then a year two. And then
He's too
and then he
nervous.
ends up dating somebody else and they're
Yeah.
crushed. And I'm like, he never liked you in the first place. And there's nothing wrong with you. And there's nothing wrong with him not liking you. He's just not for you.
Yeah. It's
And-
like Big and Carrie. He was with Carrie. He was like, I'm not a marriage guy. I got divorced and I'm super damaged and I'm not a marriage guy. And then right after stringing Carrie along for years, he like gets married. Like a 20-year-old model.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, yeah, because that's who he wanted to marry the whole time. It's not that complicated.
Yeah,
But I don't know. We don't want to believe people.
we don't. So believe people, have good expectations, have good, healthy expectations about the person that you want. Think about the person that you want to date.
The Bible verse for this season is Psalm 130, 5-6. I wait for the Lord, my whole being waits, and in his word I put my hope. I wait for the Lord, more than watchmen wait for the morning, more than watchmen wait for the morning. Jesus, we thank you that you are a God of hope, you're a God of joy. And I pray that in this season of people who are dating and single and hoping, Lord, in this season of waiting, that you will come so near to every single one of your children, that you would renew hope, that you will renew their minds into putting their hope in your word and in you, Lord. God, I pray for people to find their person, for people to find joy in being single. Lord, whatever it is that you have for their lives, we know that you are a good dad who cares for your children, and you will give them more than enough, more than what they ask for, Lord, because that is the heart of a father. So, Lord, thank you for loving us, for taking care of us, and we will wait. We will wait for you. In Jesus' name, I pray. As we wrap up today's episode, we are grateful you join us to explore what it means to remain connected to God, to yourself, and to others. To stay updated on future episodes, be sure to hit that subscribe button and connect with us on Instagram and Facebook at Remain Connected. Counseling appointments can be made at RemainConnectedLLC.com. Your support means the world to us. Until next time, may you find peace in your connections and blessings in every step of your journey. Have a